Today we're going to talk through interview rejection and three things that I like to think about. Before I jump into it, I want to tell you guys that I was just drinking this pop and bottle drink. It's like a almond latte. It's called the Golden Turmeric Almond Latte. I was kind of drawn to it by the packaging, and I was a little skeptical at first, but it's really delicious. I just received a message from a guy by the name of Vidya, and he just got rejected from Amazon. He said, I just interviewed at Amazon. I got rejected at the onsite. I'm breaking my head on what went wrong. Culture or job fit, question mark. I did whiteboards, a lot to give context coming from the energy industry. What is your take on how to improve or close the deal per se? So let's talk through a couple things here. Before I really dive into these three things, I'll say that I have been there to Vidya or anyone else that's watching. I've been rejected from many companies. It's very painful, especially when you've gotten to the point where you've gone through all of the on-site interviews. With any of these tech companies, the process is very long, right? It starts with these recruiter calls, these exploratory calls, and then it goes into the some phone screens, maybe by some people in the team, and then finally you get to the on-site and you have 5 more interviews with 5 more people. And then the worst thing is when you're invested your time all the way through that and you're thinking that you got it, right? You leave thinking it's you got it in the bag, and they tell you no, right? And they can tell you no for any number of reasons. And that gets me to my first tip, or my first point, is subjectivity. Any of these tech companies are, as much as the interview process is highly structured, there's tons of subjectivity, right? There's 7 or more people that you basically interviewed with, 7 touch points, and each one of those people have different personalities. As much as these companies try to kind of structure everything, there's human subjectivity, right? People have bad days, people have good days. You might catch somebody on a bad day, and literally all it takes is one person that had a bad day to kind of create a bad signal within your interview process that causes the whole thing to basically go up in flames. This leads me to point number 2, which is clarity. Failure from an interview, as stinging and as painful as it is, provides you with a ton of clarity, right? I know for me, when my business failed and I've had plenty of interview rejections, all of those failures have made me stronger. So approach this from the mindset that failure makes you stronger. Don't approach this as like, I failed and I'm miserable and I don't know what I'm going to do about with myself. Even if you wanted that job really bad, recognize maybe it wasn't your time, and another opportunity could be knocking right down the road. And once that company calls you, you're going to be twice as prepared because you got pressure tested from the interview process through Amazon or through one of these other companies as well, right? There's a joke internally at Google, for example, that people ask each other internally, how many times did you interview at Google before they actually said yes? And the majority of people at Google say 4 to 5 times that they tried and failed. And that's, I think, built into the culture of Google. And so don't be afraid to go back and try again. You'll be much stronger for it. Point number 3, small nuances. With Amazon or Google or Facebook or any of these companies, the small nuances may have kicked the whole downfall of the interview process, right? Let me give you an example of how this plays out. At Amazon, one of the leadership principles is disagree and commit. So when someone at Amazon asks you, tell me about a time you disagreed with somebody, at Amazon the response would be, I had this leader and I told them all this stuff, and ultimately they put the kibosh on it and I had to disagree and commit. Right? This type of thing happens at Amazon. But at Facebook, for example, if you were to talk about a behavioral question and give that type of response, they would want to reject you right away, right? Because they are all about coming to a consensus and collaborating, right? There isn't that tension. They don't want to see that tension in the interview process. So even something as nuanced as that could have thrown you off. So keep that in mind. Last thing here, guys, before I head over to the gym is we don't do this stuff all the time, right? I had a buddy yesterday and we were on the phone and he said, John, I'm just not good at interviewing. And it's like, nobody's good at interviewing, okay? You dust off these skills like once every couple years, and right, you have to remember like, what are the things on my resume and like how do I sell myself, right? It's a hard process, so nobody's good at it. It just takes a ton of practice. And just remember that if you failed an interview, take heart and remember that that failure is only going to make you stronger. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I got a lot more videos coming on the topic of career and LinkedIn tips and things like that. So definitely hit the subscribe button and we'll catch you on the next video. I'm going to head over to the gym. We'll see ya.